we will learn how to make this bike using our SIFI panels that we have already created. Okay, right now it's in render mode, and if you switch back to object mode, it is looking something like this. Okay, if it is looking really complicated, it is not. It is very easy. We'll be using basic stuff and basic operations. So I have this SIFI panels that we have already created. Okay, and I have these three. This will act as the main body of our bike. Okay, let's quickly add the torus. We'll be making bike tire out of it, or wheel. So let's go to edit mode. We'll be selecting the inner planes by pressing shift and alt and clicking on the planes, shift D and right click so that it will come back, and I'm scaling it down. Let me select the edge, this entire edge, and let me scale it so that it becomes horizontal to the ground. Once you do that, you can again just click on this by pressing L, and you can extrude it just a little bit, extrude along the normal. And now that planes is already selected, we can press I to inset, and we can extrude along normals, not in the opposite direction, just like this. So just hold the handle and just pull it, and this could be a little tricky, but this is what you will get. So these are the rims on which our wheel will be rotating. We can again select the entire planes and just extrude them along the normals again, just like that, so that it closes like this. Let me give a loop cut by Control R, and I can just do the same here as well. So we'll have loop cut. Let me select the center vertex. Okay, looks like there is not one vertex, there are more than one. This happened because when we did extrude along normals, it didn't happen completely, I mean to the very end. Now let me just extrude them along the normals, scale them down again, and extrude them just like this. Okay, so, or else there is one more thing we can do. We can just completely get rid of these two planes, or we can fill them. So let's delete them. It would be best. So it is already selected now, and I'm deleting the faces. Both the faces are gone, and I'm going to select the, okay, there are few vertices here. We need to select these vertices and we have to delete them. So just do the box selection and just press X and delete vertex. So you might run into a problem like this, but you have to fix it. So just select the edge and press F to fill it. It would be best for longer run. Okay, now let's select this edge, the center edge, and I'm going to rotate it R, Y, and just little bit I'm rotating just to give some effect. And let me select these plane by pressing Alt and Shift. I'm going to do I to inset, and then I'm going to extrude them along the normal by pressing the handle, and not too much, just a little bit. Okay, so it will have this gripping effect here. So our wheel is ready now. Okay, just a basic wheel, and we are going to position it now. So let me just bring it down somewhere here, and I can scale it just a little bit. Let me move it somewhere here, and I can do Shift D and move it back. So there will be few more operations that we can do, especially at the back of the wheel. We can increase its size, but we will do that afterwards. But as of now, let's do auto mirror to our central object, this central engine part sort of thing. And let's add a cylinder here now. With GY, I'm going to move it something like this, so it will be stretched like this, and I have to scale it down. Basically, I'm trying to make a structure around our engine area, and we'll be connecting this with suspension system as well. So with GX, I'm moving it here, and I can rotate it R, Y, and 45 degrees. So as you can see, it is rotated now. And let me give a loop cut here. So Control R. Looks like we need to use knife cut now. So let's select the knife cut and just make a small cut here. Loop cut isn't working here. So just I'm giving a knife cut and I'm pressing enter so that I can get this plane. I to inset, E to extrude. Okay. So this is another thing. As you can see, the extrusion is not happening at 45 degrees. So in this case, what you can do, you have to rotate our handle just like this. So R, Y, 0 degree, or you can just directly rotate it. Okay, R, Y, and you can just manually rotate it because the extrusion is not happening. Now it's happening. As you can see, extrusion is happening. So I to inset again and E to extrude again. Okay, just like this. So you need to make sure that you extrude it before extruding something which is in some angle. Now let's go back and let's add something. Let's add a suspension system immediately. We have this spring that we have already created before, and let me grab it here near the wheel, and we'll try to connect this with our handle. So right now I'm just basically positioning it near the wheel. So I have told you many times that positioning will play a important role because we have to grab this and we have to position it correctly. So now I'm just going to rotate it at the angle at which our handle is also rotated. So right now let me just separate this handle part by selecting P and P by selection. So now our handle part is separated, and I'm going to select both the spring and the handle, and I'm going to rotate them at 45 degrees just like this. Now okay, we can see that we have to do some adjustment. I'm just going to pull it somewhere here. I'm going to make sure that these two are aligned. So I think you get the idea. I'm just trying to connect the spring with the handle and also the spring with my wheel. So again, I'm doing nothing special here, just positioning everything, just making sure that everything is in alignment. So let me select these three, spring, wheel and my handle, and let me just move them or align them. So I think this is okay. This is not looking bad. Let me just select the spring. Let me just connect everything and we'll fix it. So let me just select spring. We are in edit mode. I'm going to select this plane and I'm going to bring my 3D cursor here. Okay. So I'm going to place my 3D cursor somewhere next to the plane so that I can use my spin tool, and I'm going to basically join my spring to the handle. So my 3D cursor is here. So okay, again, this is an issue where you have to make sure that 3D cursor is at right position. Okay, so you have to use front view and side view to get that, and then we can use spin tool, and we just need to just rotate this by moving our blue handle just like this. Not much, that is okay. It's looking like it is connected now. There is still some gap here, so we can just adjust our spring or handle. uh, I'm just realizing that it's too much of adjustment in this particular tutorial, so it's a good thing because this is what you guys will have to face, especially for the first few weeks. So nothing much, okay, just trying to make sure that everything is connected. Okay, let me fill this gap by selecting the edge like this, and F to fill, and then I can extrude it again like it was before. So E to extrude, again E to extrude, S to scale, and E to extrude. So basically I have to increase its size, and I'm beveling the end with Control B just a little bit. Okay, so basically our spring is connected to this handle, and if you see closely it is not connected. So if I wanted to, I could have leave this, but I want to make sure that you learn that okay, in real modeling you might have to fix few situations where things are not aligned or connected well. So right now I'm still trying to connect the spring with the handle so that it basically I want you to witness the process. Okay, it may happen with some projects, and you might need to keep adjusting it till you get it right. So now I think it is connected, and we can just select the plane here. You can extrude it, and this time again at the bottom also we have to connect the spring with the wheel, and let me just extrude a little bit. Okay, just a little bit, and from here I'm going to rotate it, bend it basically, R, Y, and approximately 10 degrees just like this, and just little bit of extrusion again, or from here we can just do the beveling. So Control B, I can select this plane and Control B just a little bit. Okay, and let's just select the wheel. I'm going to select the center part, and I to inset, E to extrude, again Control B. So okay, the other part is not happened, so we have to select both the ends so that it happens uniformly on both the sides. So E to extrude. Okay, this is extrude along normal, not the normal extrude. So extrude along normal, just grab the handle and do it. I to inset, again E to extrude along normal. Okay, just a little bit, not much. It must basically connect with the spring. So I guess this is okay now. I have just beveled it just a little bit. Control B to bevel. Okay, now I'm just trying to do, let's try something else. Let me just select the wheel and the spring, and let me try to add a catenary. Let's see how it will look. So if I do catenary, you can increase the number of value of A here so that it will increase its thickness. Okay, it is not looking that sci-fi, but it's fine. At least it is looking like it is connected through a cable. So this is okay-ish. It is acceptable. So let's move forward now. Let's duplicate the spring to the other side. Okay, Shift D along with the catenary. So we have catenary as well. Okay, in this case, let's delete the catenary and we'll have to rotate the spring because it's not here. So again, in this case, if we rotate it, it won't happen well. So we have to make it horizontal and then we have to rotate it in x-axis, uh, just like this, rx and 90 degrees. And now we have to do ry and 45 degrees. So this small stuff and this small operation you must know. Okay, this is the basics. This is why we started with very basics in first few lectures, because that's all we needed. We had the equipment, we are just assembling it and positioning it. So these two are the basic fundamentals of what we are trying to achieve here through modeling. Now let me quickly add a catenary here as well. So nodes and catenary. Okay, this looks cool. Okay, let's move forward and we can just kind of join these two. I'm doing simple extrusion, I to insert and extrude, or let's do I to insert one more time, just one more time, and E to extrude. So this is okay, very simple operation. Now we can go back to object mode. So guys, you just have seen a very raw modeling workflow, which is not very perfect, I must say, but it will improve with time. Even I'm a learner here, and even I'm learning. But I want you to know that you have to pre-plan everything. So right now I have not planned much, so that's why I fall into such traps of modeling. But through this, I could actually show you what you can do to come out of it. Okay, this will happen all the time once you start modeling. I have added a cylinder here and I'm just clipping was off. Okay, so I could able to just rotate it. So this is cylinder, E to extrude, then R, Y and just a little bit, again E to extrude, R, Y and just a little bit of rotation, just a little bit, again E to extrude, R, Y and again rotate a little bit, E to extrude a long one. Now in this case you can do E to extrude just a little bit and scale, and again E to extrude, again E to extrude, S to scale, again E to extrude, and this is okay now, I guess. Let's quickly grab one of our panel, this cylindrical one. So let's move it here and I'm going to attach it behind our silencer area, basically this machine part that we have created, and just I'm going to attach it. Okay, so with GY I'm going to move it here, and with Shift D I think it is okay. So with Shift D let me move it somewhere there, just a little bit, few adjustments somewhere here, and Shift D and here. Okay, so we already had the end part of it. I'm just basically placing it there. Now let's complete our structure. Let's select the plane of the cylinder, again E to extrude, and again rotate it just a little bit, E to extrude, extrude little more till here. This is fine. Then again we can do E to extrude and R, Y and just a little bit of extrusion, or else let's go back and let's do inset first, I to inset and E to extrude, so that we'll have different radius of pipes which will act as a outer structure of our engine. Okay, so again E to extrude, R, Y, E to extrude, R, Y, E to extrude. This time we need a little big extrusion somewhere here, and again E to extrude, R, Y and rotate, again E to extrude, R, Y and rotate, E to extrude and RY to rotate. Also we could have used spin tool, but since it's the bend is not that big, okay, so in that case we can just directly rotate it. That's why rotation tool is available. Otherwise we could have directly used the spin tool as also. And now I'm just doing simple extrusion and I'm trying to basically just rotate it and extrude it just like this, and I'm going to merge it somewhere here. Okay, so basic structure is ready on both the side of our bike, and now we just need to do loop cuts. So let's give few loop cuts here, control B to bevel and something like this. Okay, and extrude along normal, we can go inside. This looks good now. Okay, now let me give few loop cuts here. Just 4 loop cuts is fine, and this is okay. And control B, and this should be this extrusion should be outside, so this is okay. Again, few loop cuts here, 4 loop cuts. Control B again. I'm just scaling down the loop cuts, and then I'm going to do the beveling. Control B, and again extrude along the normals. So let me just select one loop cut here. Let me give a bevel, extrude along normal. So I'm just grabbing the handle and I'm just pulling it. Okay. So and let me just give few more loop cut here and control B to bevel. This time let it go inside. So we are just making sure that it doesn't look very blank. So I'm just giving loop cuts, few loop cuts, control B and extrude along normals. Okay. Uh, Here also few loop cuts, control B, extrude along normals, just grabbing the handle just a little bit, not much. And here it's also we can give few loop cuts, or let's just select the other two loops as well with alt, shift alt, and I'm going to give control B to bevel and extrude inside along the normals. Let's give one loop cut here right at the corner, just one, control B and extrude along normal. Don't do too much, okay? It might not be a good option. Just a little bit, just a little bit. Let's give little outside, okay? Now few loop cuts here. Control B and extrude along normals, as usual that we have been doing. So for the entire structure, which is cylindrical in nature, this is what we have done. Very basic operation, but it will look good, okay? This seems very blank, so let's queue again. Few loop cuts, control B and extrude along normals, just like this. It's actually optional. If you want, you can just you just don't need that, so we can actually go back with control Z. This is okay, this is fine. Now let's try to add catenary between these two. So I have selected these two objects and I'm trying to add catenary here, but as you can see it's a straight line basically. Even if I change the value of A, it doesn't make any difference. So this shows that we need two objects at different position to make use of catenary, just to make it look like a cable or something. So we won't be using it here. So let's not do that. Okay, let me just select this and move it a little bit up. Okay, this is fine. Now let's see what else we can do. What is looking odd? Let me just increase the size SY and let me scale the back tire. Generally back tires are a little wider, and let's duplicate our spring, basically suspension system. So shift D in x-axis and I'm going to rotate them RY 45 degrees or RY minus 45 degrees basically. Okay, and I can just move them somewhere here. I'm not actually going to flip the spring again. This is okay. It was just an idea. Okay, feel free to adjust the springs or rotate it as per the requirement. Okay, because the back tire is different. By different I mean the size and the shape of the tire is different. So we'll just try to adjust it and we'll apply catenary directly. We won't be doing much. So, and since it is wider in length, we have to move the springs just below our silencer basically. So we can just move them somewhere here. So this look good. So now let's try to extrude the let's try to join the springs with the wheel. I'm just going to scale the springs. It's little bigger than the previous one. And if I select the tire, if I go back to edit mode, let me select these plane. So I am selecting this plane here and also the opposite one. And if I extrude them along the normal, this is what I'm gonna get. And I to insert, E to extrude, and just a little bit, and control B to bevel. So as you can see, it's not looking that good, although it should be the case, but we are going to skip this part. Let's try catenary directly. Okay, so we'll select the spring and we'll select the bike and we'll add catenary. So as you can see, there is a significant amount of cable sort of things that we can see here. So we'll just leave it here with the catenary. We are not going to extrude that, although it should be. I'm just skipping that part. Now let me select one of the engines here so that we'll have auto mirror on automatically. So I'm going to select the center body and we'll have auto mirror applied here. So let's add a cylinder. We'll scale it down. Clipping is off. Let's rotate it in x-axis and scaling it down. We are trying to make actual handles here. We'll just add them somewhere here, and I'm just positioning it somewhere here. So with GZ, moving it up, and with GY, I'm moving it somewhere here. So now we have cylinders. We can just kind of select the plane. I bevel them just a little bit, or else let's go back. Actually, let's do inset and then let's do this. So I'm gonna do I to inset and E to extrude again, S to scale, and just moving it in Z direction. So as you can see, it has an oval shape right now. So let's go back, I to inset. Let's do Shift D, right click. Let's keep it separate, and we'll just scale it down in Z axis, and then we'll extrude it, and now we can scale it down. So we'll have this handle sort of thing. Let's give few loop cuts here, Control R, and let's Control B, and we can do extrude along normals as always, just a little bit. Okay, since it's an oval shape, we might get into problem, but we have given some grip to the handles. So as you can see, there is some distortion in the geometry. This might happen when the shape is changed now. Because it was an oval shape, it happened. So please make sure you always keep an eye on the geometry as well, so that the distortion doesn't happen. Okay, but we'll move forward now. We'll just bring this tank sort of thing that we used previously. So let me just put it somewhere near our engines, okay, because it will act as a fuel tank, although it should be on top, but since this is a sci-fi bike, we can just place it here. So let me just scale it down and let me flip it over just like this, and let's place it somewhere at the bottom of our bike. So I'm moving it with GY and just placing it somewhere here. So as you can see, it will act as a fuel tank, and we can use catenary. We can show few cables or pipes sort of thing to make it look like fuel is going through in the engines. So we have few more panels available that we are going to use. Let me just select this pipe sort of thing that we created last time. It will look really nice if we just place it somewhere here at the side, because generally bike have this sort of structure. So I'm not going to do much editing in this. I'm just going to place it, just scaling it little bit down, and I'm going to place it somewhere here. And now there is one option that I can think of to connect it with the engine is by our spin tool. So let me just adjust it a little bit somewhere here. It should not look way off from the bike. Okay, again I would like to remind you that we can actually use different panels. Okay, we had so many panels, I just happened to use few of them, and I'm just trying to show you the process that you can use to connect everything and use them for different purposes. So you can use your creativity and you can use different panels and multiple panels, and even you can create your own panels, and you can use them just like this, like how I did. So right now I'm just using spin tool and I'm trying to join this to the engine, just grabbing this blue handle and just pulling it something like this. Okay, I have already placed my 3D cursor there and simply bending it, and let me just grab it in object mode and let me just move it somewhere here so it will look as if it is connected. Again, we can do a lot many option here. We can even edit this further and we can add few more things. Right now we are just using our panels to make this happen. So let me grab another panel. Let me grab this guy, the cylindrical guy, and let me use it as a seat and one more kind of machine. So since so idea is that robots will be using this bike, so we are not using more spongy sort of seats. We are just using everything as a machine sort of thing. So that's the idea of sci-fi. So let me grab this and move it somewhere here. It will act as a seat and it will act as a machine also. So this is okay. We'll now use catenary. We'll try to connect these two with a cable. So we'll add a catenary here, and as you can see it's not that visible. We'll try to change the value of A. It is going little downwards. Okay, it's okay. The more the cables, it's better, because sci-fi has so many cables and stuff. Although cables can be replaced by cylindrical objects that we did, but catenary is a good and faster option in that case. And I'm just selecting random two objects and I'm trying to connect, making sure it looks good. So make sure that if you want to use catenary, make sure that you have sufficient distance between the objects. Now let me select this panel. It is looking like an exhaust system, so we'll be using it somewhere here at the bottom. So let me just grab it and let me just place it somewhere here. Okay, so I'm just moving it. I'm trying to put it somewhere here near this motor sort of structure, but you know what, this looks like an exhaust system, so basically gases and stuff will come out of it. If you think logically, the gases should go to the opposite direction of where bike is going, so we should not place it here. Okay, so I'm just trying to see if we can change it. Let's actually change it. Let's bring, because we need to bring our fuel tank here and we have to place our exhaust system backside. So let's do that actually. Okay, so this is small thing that you might need to change while doing modeling. And the best thing is, if you have any idea, let's say somebody gave you a concept art design, that this is the prompt and you have to come up with an idea. You come up with a rough sketch that would do wonders, and so that you will have an idea that what you need and what you want to model in 3D. So as of now, I'm just going with the flow. Okay, I have not thought this through in a detailed manner. Otherwise, I could have uh, placed it all at once and it would be very fast. But this is a proper raw modeling process that I'm showing you. So I have just switched the fuel tank and the exhaust system. Now let me select this guy and let me delete it, because I'm going to use just the top part. Okay, so I want to use this as a headlight, so I'll just rotate it in Z direction and rotate it in Y direction as well. Sorry, in X direction as well. So let me just rotate it in 90 degrees and let me just place it, scale it down and place it on top of the bike again. So what we have done is we have created the panels and we are using few operations and just the positioning of the object. That's all we did, and we were able to create a sci-fi bike like this. Okay, it's kind of almost done. We don't have to do much because I told you the basic idea. Okay, this is the process that we'll be using, and if we change the matte cap, you can see with different matte cap it will give different looks. And if you want to show the concept art, then this is looking really okay. And if you have noticed, we have not used all the panels here, just few of them. And in the render mode, I have just used one light on top of the bike and it is looking really nice. Okay, so as far as concept art is concerned, you can just go with this. And if you place the lighting strategically and if you use the materials and the blooming effect and etc., you can just change this entire model into something different that we'll see in further courses. But as of now, as far as modeling is concerned, this is okay. As far as concept art is concerned, this is really okay. Okay, so this is the thing. You just create few small panels and then you try to combine it, just like the games that kids play. Okay, we have different components and we are just trying to assemble it. Okay, so as you can see in this particular mat cap, it is looking really nice. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and I'll see you in the next one.